Pantomime, pantomime, what a thrill, what a time when all the world its cares can leave in the land of make-believe. Pantomime, pantomime, music plays, keeping time with every heart that knows the score, and we're all just kids once more, with maids and graces, dames and clowns, all seeking crowns of gold, tears and laughter after all, a happy ending to behold. Pantomime, pantomime, on it goes, so sublime it's entertainment's greatest show. So long live pantomime.
I think once you've found your way of playing Dame, all you do year in, year out is to build on that and to hone it. I think it's very dangerous if you've found your way of playing Dame, when you suddenly encounter a producer that wants you to do it totally different and totally alien to what you know has worked. That's when the problem lies. It's happened to me a couple of times. I was at Wakefield Opera House doing Mother Goose, which should be the Dame of all dames, and I'd played the part before. And the producer-director, I use the word very loosely, he said, "Oh, you're too nice." He said, "Oh, with all your costumes, you're too nice. You need to roughen it up a bit." And no, that's not the case. It was Mother Goose. It wasn't Ugly Sister. It wasn't a villain role. Mother Goose is a typical motherly dame. She just loses her track along the way and becomes obsessed with money. But she never turns into a horrible character. So I think you have to be strong to yourself, find your way of playing it, know it works, trust yourself that it works, and this isn't being arrogant, and then build on it year after year after year.
In fact, we're welcome today, Dave Rumelle.
Hello.
It is Dave. I just
Dave Rumelle, that's lovely. So where are you appearing, Dave?
Well, I am the roller skating dame, and I'm playing the Dame of all dames this year, Mother Goose in Mother Goose at the Ogiva Theatre, Chesham.
Okay.
Buckinghamshire.
Chesham, Buckinghamshire. That's until January the 2nd.
Until January the 2nd.
That's quite a short run there, isn't it?
It's quite a short run, but we're doing two performances a day.
Okay, so hurry while that one lasts.
The very first time I auditioned for Dame, I went to a wonderful man called John Nathan Turner, who was the last original director of Doctor Who in the 1980s. And I went to read for him, and it was Mother Goose, which is the biggest Dame part there is. And I read it Northern for some reason. And as soon as I finished, he said, he wasn't nasty about it, he said, no, imagine you've gone to a party and got slightly drunk, and you're just having fun, and imagine it's David that's gone to a party and done that, and let your own personality flow out. And I thought about it for a couple of seconds, read the role again, and then instantly knew what he meant. And from then on, I built my Dame on that advice. The very first year, I based my Dame on my friend Philip, who was the last partner of the great Douglas Byng. And Douglas Byng was very, very clipped and very precise and very like that. And I realised it was coming over too aggressive and too strict. So I then softened every other word by putting in a love or a darling or something like that, or something to make it more like a mum. And the reviews that year, ironically, said delightfully camp and reminds us of John Inman, which I'd never thought about before. But again, I've just built on that year after year after year. And there's also elements of Molly Sugden in my Dame. When she becomes a bit refined, you know, she can be like that. And then when she gets very silly, she gets like that. And then, of course, a bit of Dora Bryan creeps in. So there's just all these various layers and areas that I've built on and included in my Dame.
Do I say? What a lovely budgie car. Oh, you're not the budgie car. Canary, turkey, I don't blame you, dear. Who wants to be plucked and stuffed at Christmas? No, I don't know. What are you then, dear? You look a bit like Vanessa Phelps. Not enough. Oh, I see you're a goose. Oh, my word, you are a big one. Are you from Bernard Matthews? And what's your name, love? Oh, I see. Gorilla. No. Godzilla. No. Not Camilla. Thank heavens for that. Oh, I see Priscilla. Oh, Priscilla, well, it's a lovely name, my darling, but I have to get on. I'm spring cleaning, you know.
It doesn't get any easier leaving home to come away for Panto each year. I mean, every year I always leave home and think, oh, here we go again, and it is a wrench leaving family and friends behind. But at the end of the day, it's work. It's a job. It's what we do. It's what we strive for. It's what we've trained for. So this is our life. This is our profession. And like any job, it has its pitfalls, it has its ups, it has its downs. But at the end of the day, it is ultimately a profession that we take great pride in. I don't think anyone would argue. You get into a cold, bleak dressing room first thing in the morning. At the moment it's pouring with rain outside, it's freezing cold, having to cope with the Christmas rush in town, and you just think, oh crumbs, what am I doing here? And then as soon as you put pretty lights on, you're into work mode. Here we go.
Before the show. So what do you normally do before a show then, David?
Normally takes me about 2 hours. We got in today at 12 with an hour to go. First thing, come in, reset all the costumes. It takes about half an hour, including repairs as well, and then start makeup about half an hour before vocal warm-up. So by the time we do that, put the nail varnish on, and then once that's done, wire up for sound. As long as I can be ready 20 minutes before, I'm happy.
Marvellous.
I think ultimately your Dame is an amalgamation of everyone you've admired over the years. I mean, I've gleaned bits and pieces from the great dames like John Inman, Jack Tripp, George Lacey, Terry Scott, Billy Dainty even. Just all these bits and pieces go into the melting pot and hopefully have created something unique and new and obviously not totally original, but unique to myself. It's almost like finding the clown in yourself, really. We're often taught at drama school to find the clown in ourselves, and I think the same thing applies is when you first discover how you play your Dame. What would I do if I wasn't playing Dame? I mean, I did start off playing villain, which is always fun. I've gone back to that in recent years in adult panto. I've done Abanazas and Demon Kings and Sheriff of Nottingham's and things like that. I don't know. I would always wish to stick to the Dame because I think it's like variety. You specialise and you hone your craft. But who knows? I mean, this year I have opted to do, gone sideways and opted to do Ugly Sister, which is sort of cross between the two, Dame and Villain. I certainly wouldn't say no to it again, because I've had an excellent fellow sister to work with this year. But I think, heart of heart, I would always wish to play Dame each year.
Boys and girls, I've got
see my left side. I can't wait until tomorrow. No, I must get on.
Again, it's very interesting coming back to do makeup again. If you haven't done it for a year, usually after a year it still takes me an hour to get ready. But once you've been in the routine for a couple of days, we can normally get it done within half an hour perhaps. And I suppose each makeup is slightly different. This year with Playing Sister, we've had to go for slightly more elongated nose and bone structure and very thin lips to give that more, I won't say evil look, but strident look, should we say.
Be so careful because the makeup can't be frightening for the kids, especially if you've got them on stage for a song sheet and you're knelt down with them. It can't be.
They've all gone and left me, sinner. Well, I don't care. I don't need them. I've got all the money in the world now. I'm still so lonely. Oh, you're the only true friend I have, sinner. Come here and give us a cuddle, love. Oh. What is it they all say about me? I'm ugly. I can't help it, I was born with this face. I went to one of those fortune tellers watching her. She said, oh, don't worry, love, you'll be ugly until you're 50. Then you'll get used to it. Sinner. Wouldn't it be wonderful if I was beautiful? Sinner, that's it. You're a magic goose, love. Could you lay me an egg with magical powers to make me beautiful? You mean you couldn't? Well, you wouldn't. Well, go on, get away with it. I don't need you. Go on, shoot!
Pathos and comedy and balance them on a knife edge. Particularly with characters like Mother Goose and Dame Trot in Jack and the Beanstalk. It's such a fine line. You can have the audience laughing one moment and then you have a pathos scene, and to hear people just give a little sniffing in the audience, I realised that had worked.
Oh, I'm going to miss you terribly. Goodbye, sinner.
And you won't leave 3 guesses, and not even 2, to know that you're the one, sweet.
It's interesting looking back on the video I made for BBC Pebble Mill 19 years ago, not 20 years ago now. The comments I made about how you should approach Dame and how you should play Dame. It's interesting, I stick by everything I said then, and I don't think anything has actually changed. I think if anything I've just built on that knowledge and advice over the last 19, 20 years.
How crucial is a dame to a good panto?
Very much. She is the comic pivot of the piece. She has to communicate with the audience on 2 levels. She has to be the mother figure, but the audience must see that the actor playing with Dame is a man in a dress. They must see through the pretense. She, in a way, carries the panto, if you like. When things are getting scary for the kids with the villain coming on, she immediately lifts it as soon as she comes on.
Can you turn anybody into a dame?
I think so, as long as they use their natural personality, as long as they don't try and be something they're not. They have to take into account their size, their sense of humour, their shape.
So crowded it really was. I was pushed at the front, shoved at the side, and jostled at the back by all those main assistants. I'm going again tomorrow. Enough of my problems. Let's put lights on and have a good look at you, my darling. Let the dogs see the hair. Oh, I say what a classy bunch you are. The creme de la creme. The odds yoghurt dotted about and everything. Give us a way down here. And in the middle. And up there on the mantelpiece. And on the picture rail. Oh, we've got people in the council flats as well. Hello. Oh, aren't they posh? Look at eating chips with their gloves on. As I say, I've been shopping for you. Oh, nice and sweet. Now you've got to shout for them. Who likes the sweets?
Well, tonight's New Year's Eve, and each year when I get to the end of a panto run, I always ask myself, where on earth am I going to be next year? Because you can never rely on anything. And even though you think you've done a good job one year, you just never know. You never know what the management are after. You never know what the theatres are after. But above all is to stick to your guns, know what you do well, and know the public appreciate it, I suppose.
Dame is a valued friend you come back to every year, and once you've found your way of playing it, you just build and build and build on it every year.
Pantomime.